Welcome back to Gold Derby. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm joined by Joyce. And Joyce, we're going to talk about Being the Ricardos.
Our favorite new movie?
Yes, our favorite new movie with Best
I mean,
Actress.
I know you're so partial to Gucci.
No,
you told me yesterday you think it might be better than The Last Duel.
So to start there, I think Gucci might be better than Last Duel, which we talked about last week, I think. And we were like, oh, Last Duel's probably better. My reasoning was it's just more fun to think about and talk about House of Gucci. It's just a lot of fun.
It is. That's facts. Yes.
But Being the Ricardos, we can't review it technically, but we could talk about it. I loved it. Great.
I really liked it too. It's like 2 hours, but like very quick and like just kind of like a breezy, like fun watch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Super enjoyable. I would say
very Sorkin-y. If you like West Wing, like Sports Night Sorkin, like this is like sort of like that basically. Like
absolutely. The thing I kept thinking of watching it was this is like the closest he's gotten to West Wing season 1 as a director for sure. And
this
a writer.
Is his strongest directing effort.
For sure. Yeah. So Being the Ricardos coming December 10th in theaters, and then Amazon will release it on Amazon on December 21st. Based on a week in the life of I Love Lucy with Nicole Kidman as Lucy. I can't imagine people watching this don't know this, but just to slightly contextualize it, was dragged on Twitter immediately because everyone really wanted Deborah Messing to play Lucille Ball. And in interviews, Aaron Sorkin was basically like, I didn't really want them to do impressions. I wanted her and Javier Bardem, who plays Desi Arnaz, to do like the characters of really like, Lucy Ricardo, basically. And the movie does that and does it really well. And also, I think he in interviews had said previously, like he wanted to take people by surprise. The expectations for this, I would say, were low. Would you argue?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I feel like we deserve a pat on the back because last month when the teaser was released, we talked about it and we were like, is this being underestimated? Because everyone is just coming for the casting because they don't think they look like Lucy and Desi or Lucy and Ricky Ricardo, when the movie is not about the I Love Lucy characters. It's about Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz.
Right.
So expectations were low. And, the social embargo lifted over the weekend, and most of the reviews, especially for Nicole, were positive. And my screening last night, we're recording on Thursday, there was a Q&A afterwards with Aaron, Nicole, J.K. Simmons, who plays William Frawley, and Nina Arianda, who plays Vivian Vance. And Aaron, he like reiterated all those same things, like he didn't want like direct impersonations of these people. And, he was like, people have the wrong like picture of like Lucille Ball in mind when they hear her name, because they just think of like Lucy Ricardo, and that is not Lucille Ball. And he's like, Lucille Ball does not even look like Lucille Ball, because that wasn't like the real person. And he came for Twitter because he was like asked for like final thoughts, and he like said some stuff, and then he was like, back in the day, there was this like committee that would like vet casting choices. Like his example was like, if you wanted to cast JK on your show, they would like, look into him, check his background, be like, yeah, good to go for it. And then he was like, that group today is Twitter.
So I'm gonna guess, Joyce. I'm gonna guess it doesn't engender him a lot of goodwill on Twitter.
No, but like he never really had any, especially after that PHR interview a couple days ago. Was it last week? I don't know.
Because so he definitely is not interested in playing like nice with current what would I say, like the way society wants to. He does not want to play ball with seemingly like.
I will say like his
modern that progressiveness.
Yeah, but like that comment from it got a great reaction from the crowd, because I was, first of all, this theater was packed. It was like not reduced capacity. There was like not a single seat in there because it was like a guild screening, and everyone loved it. And they loved what he said. Like, they got a standing. It was like a partial standing O, but when like Nicole came out last, it was like full standing O. And also this crowd leaned like slightly older, and like there were definitely people there who were alive when I Love Lucy originally aired. But they all loved it. There were like people behind me, this like group just talking about like how they were like huge Lucy fans and like they couldn't wait to see it. And they didn't even know like the structure of the movie. They didn't know what it was about. Like they just knew like these people were in it, and it was written and directed by Aaron Sorkin. And then like this couple in front of me afterwards was like, Nicole is like winning the Oscar.
So I think she might. We were going to do this live. I don't have her winning yet, but I was going to move her up right now. I also want to say I said Lucy Ricardo before I meant Lucille Ball. So don't cancel me on Aaron Sorkin. Yeah. Aaron Sorkin, don't come for me on Twitter, I guess, because I said it wrong. But I knew what you were talking about. But yeah, I think after I saw it, I saw this, I guess, last week also, right? I guess it seems like the weeks are blending together, Joyce. But I believe I saw this last week as well. And I was like, this is going to get many nominations. I just could see it. So first of all, it's a movie about Hollywood that is very much like inside baseball. Often, I think it like goes into not just like basically the structure of the movie. Like you said, it takes place across a week. He like put a lot of big events that didn't happen in 1 week into 1 week. So it's like, is Lucy a communist? Is like the runner. And like how that would affect her show and her career in the second season of I Love Lucy. Is Desi cheating on Lucille Ball? Perhaps not. That's another runner. And then like, just basically getting the episode ready to air. So it's like those
and
are
also
like
she's pregnant with her second child, and like
correct. So those are all like big issues that they're trying to deal with, and it's all backstage machinations. And it actually gets into like the weeds on like specific like. They do like a table read and like giving notes and like how the director is lost and how she's able to like block a scene. It's got all these very specific TV and film making conversations, like how Desi like created the set and how the cameras were situated so the audience could see what was happening. All these very inside
he like
baseball
created
things I think,
like the kinetoscope like
right.
camera. Yeah.
Right. So it's like, and even like down to like arguments about who gets credited where and the placement of billing and how that perhaps means that like Desi is actually the titular role of I Love Lucy because he's the eye.
That was a great thing.
So it's like all of these very specific conversations that is really in the weeds that I think would play extremely well for an industry that loves talking about itself. Right. So like we've seen in the past, like movies about movies will always do well. And
yeah, like those all those inside baseball stuff played really well with my audience, again, like guild audience. So
that's
yeah. I need to rewatch this movie because there were just some parts where they were just like guffawing and like applauding, and I could not hear the next line.
So I would say that to me, I immediately put it into Best Picture. I have it in there now. I don't have it winning, but I have it getting nominated, especially like we said with 10 nominees, filling out the 10 is not the easiest task. It just seems like this one would really get a lot of support broadly. So I have it in for Best Picture. And then I honestly think, so like I said, I really think Nicole could win.
I think she could win too.
She's a great...
I need to put her in. I'm going to put her in now.
I'm moving her up right now to win. Here's my rationale.
Okay.
She's a great actress, already won. People love Nicole Kidman, and it feels like she's actually been doing the best work of her career over the last like 5 years, right? Like with like Big Little Lies and even The Undoing and all on TV, of course, but like really kind of like hitting a stride again, or like another level as an actress. And, the other competition is, like we said, like Kristen Stewart and Spencer, Lady Gaga and House of Gucci, both great performers, both great performances. But I just think that, I don't know, I just feel like based on the movies themselves, like the support for Being the Ricardos, I feel like will be stronger than those other two movies. No offense to those other two movies. And maybe then Nicole gets in. It's possible of those three performers, she's the only one with the Best Picture nominee, because I could see House of Gucci. I think I have it in, but perhaps it misses. And I don't believe Spencer would get a Best Picture nom. So that like will help Nicole, I think. And it's a great performance. And like, I think it goes for twofold. A, like you were saying, a lot of people like love Lucy and remember her and also are like excited for this. And she actually does maybe nail it. And then also for people who were like, why is Nicole Kidman playing Lucille Ball? Then they watch it, even then, like you were saying, like all the responses were like, wow, she's really good. Like, it's like very much like a uniform, like people are like, oh, she's actually good. So even the doubters maybe who were casting aspersions on it before seeing it, will see it and be like, oh, she's really good. So that's why I think she might win. I don't know. I think there's a lot of goodwill for Nicole Kidman.
Yeah. I don't know where should I put her? Should I put her in 2? Should I put her in 1 like you?
I mean, you could put her in 1 like me if you like maximum chaos. and I'm sure we'll change this again. It's not set.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you know what? Why not? We need more excitement. Like it's. I mean, I love Kristen, but you know, just for funsies.
Yeah.
We have time. It's November. Why not? I actually dropped Frances. Sorry to Frances.
Wow.
I know, but no, I think, you know what, like Nicole is way overdue for a 5th nomination. It's insane. She only has 4 nominations for the resume she's had, the career she's had. Like, it's like the fact that like she and Jennifer Lawrence are both going for their 5th nominations this year is wild. Like, no offense to J-Law, love J-Law, she's great, but like Nicole should be on like Kate Blanchett level, like 7 noms, like going for 8. Like she should have more nominations than she does. So I mean, I would be happy. Like I don't know if she'll win, even if like I'm putting her in first right now, but like I would take a 5th nomination for her right now, because she deserves it and she's really great in this. And I do think she can win SAG. Like she has 14 nominations there. Has never won for film. She won for Big Little Lies, and you know she got him for like Bombshell. And she didn't win SAG for The Hours when she won the Oscar. So you could say she's overdue for a film win. I don't know if anyone knows she's never won a SAG for film,
right?
Because you know, but like, yeah, like, you know, this, like you said, like it plays well to the industry as we've seen, because like I think it's screened in LA over the weekend, also to like Guild members, and it played well over there. So I think like they'll be there for her, and I could see her winning SAG. And like you said, like, you know, Spencer is like more art housey, like it's the more polarizing film, whereas this, I think, you know, it's even if you don't like the film overall, like I think it's a lot easier to digest, like everything. And like they're both similar in a way that even if you don't like the pictures, like you appreciate the performances, you know, of the lead actresses. So yeah, I don't know if like, I think like we've said before that like Kristen is like the safest for a nomination now, and like I think we said in a column 2 weeks ago that like we're just looking for like her strongest competitor, and I would say it's Nicole right now.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. And I think if she wins SAG, like this is getting way ahead of ourselves, but that's like a big, and without a Golden Globes this year to like buttress, you know, like if this was the Golden Globes year and like people were going to pay attention to it, I understand they're going to happen, but let's just say like nobody actually cares.
If they're not on air.
You would probably have being Ricardos in comedy, I'd argue, and then she could actually win probably in comedy, and then you'd have like Kristen winning in drama, and then it would be like, well, they both won, kind of like Jessica Chastain and Jennifer Lawrence, I think, from, was that Zero Dark 30 Silver Linings year, right?
Yeah.
And like setting up that kind of like 1-2 battle. But without that, I just feel like, like if Nicole wins SAG, Critics' Choice, I could see going to Kristen, because I think that'll be a critical hit. But maybe, I mean, the response has been so strong, maybe Nicole just starts to steamroll. I guess we'll see. I think for critics groups that we'll start seeing given out awards like in December, like I don't think Nicole would win those personally.
I could see, we'll talk about it in a little bit. I could see like Alana Haim winning those.
Yeah, or like
you know, maybe Kristen taking. I don't know if Kristen won the major ones, but I guess you're taking like a lot of regionals, you know.
Right.
But yeah, like Nicole, I think this thing with SAG is like it's important, but also we've seen like in recent years that if it's like a split year, like the SAG winner does not go on to win the Oscar. Like, you know, we saw this past year, like Viola won SAG, and Frances, who won BAFTA, won the Oscar, and then, you know, Glenn won SAG, and then Olivia won the Oscar, and both like Frances and Olivia won BAFTA. But BAFTA, you know, this year or this past season, they, you know, changed like their whole nominating system of the panel, and they also changed it again for next year because there were so many like outrageous snubs this year. So now it's like, if for acting, like the top 2 vote getters are automatically nominated, and then a panel decides the other nominees. So I could see like Nicole not being nominated at BAFTA, strangely. Like I don't know. I guess she would have to be really strong to be top 2, because I can see like Kristen being top 2.
I was going to say, what if Kristen's not, because an American playing Princess Diana, does that like ding her at all?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? No.
I don't know. I guess
that was like, a conspiracy. That was one.
Like, no, I like it's. I mean, like Nicole is an American-born Australian playing an American icon. So, yeah, I don't know, like who the top two would be in BAFTA. So I guess it's just like, will whatever panel is selected for that category nominate Nicole if she's not in top two, you know?
Right.
Like I can see, even if Kristen is not in top two, I can see the panel nominating her.
Yeah, for sure. So that would be Nicole. So I moved her to win. You have her winning too. Great job, us.
Are we like the only ones?
Maybe, but no one's talked yet and seen it.
You know what? Just, have some fun.
Yeah. So the other nominees I have it. So let's move to Best Actor quickly. I put Javier Bardem in. It's a crowded category.
Okay. I really liked him too.
He's incredibly enjoyable in this. It's the most I've ever liked him in a movie. It's like a full movie star performance. He's so charming. He really is great. The Sorkin dialogue with him is perfect. I haven't liked him in something this much since like Skyfall, maybe. Like honestly, like he's so good.
A movie, as we know, I haven't seen.
So I'm like, I don't know. This has now become a really crowded category. Like we talked about this, I think, in the column because I was like gaga over Andrew Garfield and Tick, Tick, Boom. And I think we have like Peter Dinklage for Cyrano, Nightmare Alley for Bradley Cooper, right? Like these are all possibilities. Denzel, Benedict, and Will Smith, seemingly the three favorites. But I put Bardem in. I don't know. Even with like Joaquin Phoenix and Leonardo DiCaprio and all these other movies, I don't know. I just think if Being the Ricardos plays as well as it does, continues to play as well as it does, I kind of feel like he's so, it's like impossible. He's so likable in it. I just think it's like you're rooting for the character and the performance. I don't know. I just think he could get in. And he's also not been nominated. How long, Joyce? You're really good at this stuff. It's been so long since he was nominated.
Well, like both he and Penelope could get nominated this year. So
right. I mean, like, I don't know. So that's my take for him. I understand it's like a longer shot because I think Best Actor is a little more competitive and maybe he's like running 7th or 8th in reality, but I put him in at 5th.
Yeah. And I like, this is one of those movies where it's sort of, I mean, like Belfast in a way that they have like 4 acting contenders, but in this one, it's in each category because right. You also have Nina and JK in supporting. So I don't know right now. I mean, I think JK is probably next in line as a possible nominee, like outside of Nicole. So I don't know if I'll put Javier in.
That's fine.
But I really enjoyed him. And
He's
you know
really
what?
enjoyable.
Also, when I left the theater, I'm like a block away now. And I was like at the crosswalk and this couple was still talking about the movie.
That's
and
great.
The guy was like, I just fell in love with Ricky all over again.
Yeah, he's like incredibly enjoyable. I will say too, he got a SAG nomination for Skyfall.
He did.
So he could also get in at SAG for this. I could see that very easily.
I think this could be a SAG ensemble nominee.
For sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So then I have JK in as well. We've talked about Best Supporting Actor being a lot of wide open space.
I know. I'm gonna put him in now. Who should I drop? I don't know.
So right now I have our boy Jared Leto winning for House of Gucci still.
Winning.
Yes. I kept Bradley Cooper, and we'll talk about Licorice Pizza in a little bit. I have him in still. And then I have J.K. Simmons in 3rd. He is William Frawley is a great role. He's like a cantankerous, Oh my God.
Also, all of his lines are like so relatable to me.
Every line is funny. He absolutely, you had told me a great story last night in text. I'll let you tell it. But the fact that this is like the first time he's done a actual produced Sorkin thing, right? Like he was not in anything else, I don't believe. But he was.
No, so in the Q&A,
yeah.
In the Q&A, Aaron said that he was talking about like how you need like world-class actors to play like these parts. And, like he's known JK for a long time because JK was an understudy for A Few Good Men. And then one day he was called to like go on stage and like Aaron was like, I just like raced to the theater to, check him out. And then he was like, and a few years later, when he won the Oscar for Whiplash, he was, quote, like the least surprising thing I've seen since Nicole won the Oscar for The Hours. But I was also thinking like, what about like Javier winning in between that?
He didn't remember that, I guess.
Yeah, he didn't. But it's because Javier wasn't there, so
that's why. I absolutely think he's in. I think he's just so funny in the movie, and he's got a lot of scenes. I think he's got enough scenes to make it work. He's got a big scene with Nicole. He's clearly like just killing the Sorkin script. and he gets like most of the funny lines. I'd say, like you said, very relatable. I think people really.
I don't want to
respond
spoil the lines, or like what he says.
We could talk about when it comes out. I'm sure we'll be repeating them because it's like very good.
Yeah,
so I have him in.
Yeah,
sure.
like I was like, I knew he was gonna have like a big scene coming up with like, I just knew like Aaron would do that, just knowing like what he did with the West Wing, when he would just like every season, or like the first 4 seasons when he was there, he would tell like all the supporting actors like, this is gonna be basically saying like, I'm writing your Emmy tape like this year, like this is gonna be it. And the supporting guys rotated for 3 years, winning. So like like Nina has a big scene with Nicole, and then JK has a big scene with her. So it's like they both have like good amount of screen time to get in.
So then Nina would be the last one. I don't have her in right now, but I might just do it live on the air here.
You're gonna put all 4 of them in.
I actually am. I'm pulling a Scott Feinberg for Belfast and putting all 4 of them in.
Okay.
So I actually think she seems like to me, it's like both maybe the longest shot of the 4, and also like she's outstanding in it, and the kind of actress I feel like who has been around for a while, succeeding in a lot of different places, but never gotten the film role and recognition that she maybe has needed. And this part is great. She's so good as Vivian Vance. Again, her byplay with JK is awesome. And I think a lot of the stuff she's talking about in the movie actors will respond to, because basically it's like she's talking about, I mean, like she's much younger than William Frawley, but has to be like too old to be his, like, like it's like she's the butt of all the jokes, and like how offensive that is really to her, and how she tries to like overcome that in real life, and how she's not really taken seriously. I think that's a really compelling character. She nails it, and I think actors will respond to it like they do the whole movie. So I could see her getting in. I'll put her in right now. I just did it. Okay. So I have all 4 of them in.
Every week you're standing a new movie.
Yes, it's really bad. I'm a total hack, but I really enjoy this year's movies. They're all actually good. A lot of them are, at least.
I just remember when you came back from like seeing this, and I was like, how was it? And then you're like, you're like sort of like almost ashamed.
Yes.
Like to say you liked it.
Well, I hate being a spoiler. I don't like being I don't love being like one of the first people to see something, only because like I don't know. I like
you want to be a bandwagoner.
No, I don't love being a bandwagoner, but I guess I like being like, oh, this is good. And then I'm like, is it going to get destroyed because everybody's going to hate it? Like, you know what I mean? Like I'll give you one I saw that I was like surprised people didn't like. I saw like Last Night in Soho. I was like, I walked out of that. I was like, that's a good movie. And then I went online after, and everybody was like, this is not a good movie. It like really did not get a good response. It seemed like from critics and people on film Twitter. And I was like, I don't know. I really liked it. And so I thought it was going to be like the same thing, where I was like, I don't know.
Just,
it's really good.
Stand your ground, like what you like, don't like what you don't like.
Yes, that's good. It's good advice, Joyce. I love Sorkin. I think, overall, so I don't have him. So I have the 4 actors getting, I have it in for Best Picture, and I have it in for Best Screenplay. I don't have it winning Best Screenplay. I don't have Sorkin in for Best Director either, but
I don't think I would predict him.
I don't think so, but I definitely think of his 3 movies, all of which I've really liked. Like really enjoyed Chicago 7, and I think Molly's Game is like super watchable, and like actually continues to grow in esteem as like you watch it. And it's like there's Jeremy Strong pre-Succession just killing it, like he's so good, and it's like definitely the best Chastain performance I think she's ever had. I think this is actually his best movie. I definitely feel like this is the closest he's gotten to being like West Wing movie, basically. It's at the level of West Wing, the 4 seasons of West Wing that he did. Yeah,
I mean, it's behind the scenes on a show. It's not Studio 60.
No, it's not Studio 60, but it's definitely like he's best at like workplace mishigas, I feel like. You know what I mean? Like all his like Social Network is like a lot of workplace stuff, I feel like. Steve Jobs for sure is like the backstage machinations of Apple. West Wing, Sports Night, all these shows are like about people in a heightened environment working together, and like,
and also Fassbender did not look like Steve Jobs, really.
Right. So yeah, I think it's like his best thing. And I would say like he's got like a murderer's row of like people on it. Like, I mean, I interviewed Jeff Cronenweth for our cinematographers panel. Great guy. He did 2 Oscar nominations. He got one for Social Network, and he's worked with David Fincher, and he shot this movie. It looks awesome. Our boy Daniel Pemberton did the score.
Okay, so during the credits, when all the title cards were coming up, Daniel Pemberton's name comes up for Music By. Huge round of applause.
I mean, I think it's gonna like who are we gonna root for, Daniel or our boy Nicholas Patel? I'm actually torn.
Oh
They're
my
both
gosh,
awesome.
like who Nicholas Patel, who just won what was like Hollywood Music Award?
Yes, he won for Hollywood Music for Don't Look Up, which hasn't even screened yet widely. But
I know.
so yeah, no, I think it's like a lot of good below the line people. I think a lot of the people he assembled for this are like very well respected in the industry. I don't know. I think it's going to do really well. I could see it getting like, I'm aiming high with the acting nominations, even if it only gets.
I mean,
like,
you already got it down for 4, so
I've already got it down for like 6 with the picture and screenplay. I mean, even if it doesn't get the acting nominations, I still think Nicole and JK are like on pretty solid ground.
Yeah,
I could see it getting like 6 or like at least if Chicago 7, I think got 6 nominations. Is that right? And I mean, I think this should get at least 6, if not more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Chicago was also like a top 5 contender, which right now I don't think this is.
Right. That's the difference, but it's also a stronger year. I think that's the problem. It's like, this is better than Chicago 7 to me. They're both good.
Yes.
This is better, but I think the year is just better. So it's like, it's a tough mix.
Yeah. So yeah, like this year's mix is more eclectic. And even though we have a lot more options or whatever to fill out a ballot, I don't know like which ones I would select or anyone would select.
Right.
Really. It's sort of like top heavy, but not really.
This is actually shaping up. We could have like a pretty hardcore A-list winners if you have like Will Smith, Nicole Kidman, and Jared Leto maybe winning, right? I mean, like, and then I don't know, Kirsten Dunst, like that's like 4.
Oh my God, we could have a Beguiled reunion.
Yep. That already went viral. The two of them like talking to each other.
I know. What do you think Nicole said to Kirsten?
I loved your movie, probably. I don't think they say anything that crazy. I think they're just like, hey, this is a good movie. You're really good in Power of the Dog. But I mean, that would be like 4 legit A-list stars potentially winning Oscars, which would be really fun. I don't know. I'm just like, I'll be curious to see how it plays out. The reviews, I don't even know when they're embargoed to. I could see, I think
it's the week of release.
So I could see,
like
I think broadly critics will be like not as enthusiastic as perhaps you and I were, and like maybe the industry is. I think it'll probably be like, solid reviews, nothing, and maybe some pans, but nothing like I
don't think it'll be panned. I mean, obviously there'll be some people who are like not into it.
Yeah.
But like, even just like looking at like the social reactions from the past couple of days, it's like everyone agrees that like Nicole was great, even if they have issues with like the movie itself or like Sorkin's script. I know like some people have been like it's like too muddled with like too many things going on and stuff, or if they think, if they're like unimpressed by his direction or whatever,
Right.
But like the common ground is that like Nicole is great.
Yeah. So I think, and I think that's still strong. And I think like we said, we were looking for a Kristen Stewart, excuse me, Kirsten Dunst. Kristen Stewart.
Wait, what have they both win? Kristen and Kirsten.
Looking for a competitor, and I think we found it in Nicole. I just feel like it's going to be, the narrative is going to be too compelling. And I don't know. I think she's going to be really tough.
It would also be like hilarious and ironic if like, I don't know like how much of like these voters and like the industry is like aware of the backlash. I mean, like Sorkin is like talking about it now and stuff, and he's being asked about it, but it would be funny if like this backlash against Nicole, like from like the first like 6 months when she was cast and they were filming, like that actually engendered sympathy for her. And now people are like willing to defend her, like her peers and like people in the industry who've worked with her for the past like 30 something years.
Yeah, for sure. And like we said, I mean, I think like whether or not he intended it, like it definitely, I mean, like the movie's good. It's not just good because the expectations were low, but I think people's expectations were like not super through the roof, and like
for sure.
That you're coming into it with that. Even now, I think people are still like probably, even though we're talking, like, even though the response has been good, I still talk to people who are like, no, I don't believe that it's good, basically. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you, like, you're not, so I think like the movie is good, and like people are like responding to the movie on that level, and like it's gonna exceed the expectation. So that's being the Ricardos. So you mentioned the critics prizes before. We could switch to Alana Haim. We want to say
a movie that
Licorice Pizza.
Yeah, that has gotten the reviews are already out. Like it's gotten, glowing reviews.
So
A
this is
very
definitely
very critic friendly movie.
yes, it's a supremely critic friendly movie. Paul Thomas Anderson's new film
Yeah,
is
which
out, limited
I
release.
liked a lot as well.
It's great. I was very much into it. Out in limited release next week. It comes out Christmas Day in like theaters for everyone to see. But if you're in New York and LA, you could probably see it next week. Yeah, like I was like really gobsmacked by how charming Alana Haim and Cooper Hoffman especially are. I think I talked about this in our column. I just loved Cooper Hoffman, Philip Seymour Hoffman's son. The movie is like very Shaggy Dog, like very episodic, just moves scene by scene, set in 1973. And it's about Gary Valentine, who is the Cooper Hoffman character, who is a child actor, and just like the antics he gets up to while falling for a much older woman in Alana Haim. And it actually ends up being like very sweet and like good natured, I think, in a lot of places. There are definitely, it's like the kind of movie where like that scene could probably go, but also like the whole thing is just like a cumulative good hang, I would say.
Oh, it's a total like hangout, like coming of age film. Like I want to watch this film in the summer.
Yeah, definitely
It's
watching
like a
this
summer vacation film. It's kind of like The Sandlot. Like I just want to watch this when I'm like not doing anything.
It's very much, and he compared it. I think he's compared it to like American Graffiti and Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and like I've seen people compare it to like Dazed and Confused. Like it's actually less story driven than all of those, but I mean it's definitely like in that conversation of like just like hangout vibes, and like definitely like you said, like a summer fun like warm weather movie. So as an awards contender, I mean, like I said, I think the critics will be all over it. I still think that he could get for a screenplay. I think that's like the best avenue.
Oh,
for this.
I have him winning. And like I do agree, it's like like you said, like it's very episodic, but it's also it's hard to hate this movie.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. It is definitely like you said, like there are sections where you're watching it and it's like, it's funny. You were like, oh, it's before you saw it, you were like, oh, it's like 130 minutes or whatever. And I was like shocked that it was that long, because I was like watching it. I was like, it didn't feel very long to me, but it does like slow down in spots. But I was like, it feels like a 2-hour movie. I don't know. It just is like,
it slows down.
Long.
It slows down after Bradley Cooper's segment. And then it sort of wraps up kind of quickly. Yeah.
So I think, like I said, I think the two leads are remarkable. I would be shocked if they got in Oscar nominations, just because like it just seems like not something that would happen. But I think they'll get a lot of critical prizes. If either one of them got nominated, I would be absolutely thrilled. But like if Vicky Krieps didn't get in for Phantom Thread when that movie got like 6 nominations or whatever, I just feel like it seems unlikely that Alana Haim would get in for Best Actress, though I could see people putting her in. She's really great.
Well, I think Phantom Thread was also later, because that was like one of the last movies seen, and that calendar was also shorter. Like we have an extra month this year, and this has obviously been screening already, and like reviews are out, and it's opening next week. I can, and that year I like was also kind of like sort of set, or like some of that 5 was set. Like that year was, like 3 Billboards and like Lady Bird. This is sort of like Lady Bird, this movie. Like,
I thought of Lady Bird too. Yeah, actually, yeah.
So I think like Alana, this is like a Star is Born moment. Like she just has like, I don't know, this like, you can't describe it. It's just like that like star quality, and like it's like such a natural, like so much charisma, like great chemistry with Cooper Hoffman, who's great too. And I think with Cooper, like I said, like last week in our column, like he's probably too young. He's 18, and that category is stacked. But I'm very excited to see like what he does next. Actually, for both of them. But like I could see like this is really like Alana's the lead. Like this is like her movie, and like I think she has. I want to put her in, but I don't know who would I drop now. Do I drop like Gaga or like Penelope? I don't know.
So we go back. I mean, like it's really crowded as usual. Best Actress is like the most compelling category and like most exciting. And then this year it's like full. So right now I have Nicole, Kristen Stewart, Lady Gaga, Chastain, and Olivia Colman. I actually dropped Penelope Cruz, but I'm thinking of putting Penelope Cruz back in, because I feel like if we're looking, we didn't even mention her before, but I think from a critical standpoint and the Critics Award, she's actually going to get a ton, because like that if you look at our experts predictions, like she's running second. So I could see like Olivia Colman not getting in for Lost Daughter, or maybe this is where Jessica Chastain gets bumped out if we're going to put Alana Haim in. But, you know, I don't know. She's so super compelling, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think she would need to like definitely win a lot of like critics awards just to like have her name in like the headlines, and not just like breakthrough performer prizes, you know, like actual like best actress awards. And yeah, like you said before, I don't know if she'd win like critics choice, like that would probably be Kristen.
Right.
I can't really see her winning SAG, like we said. Like I could see Nicole winning that. I don't, but she could just be one of those like passion votes that we always see like get through in the end in Oscars, even if they don't like hit any precursors. Like I could see her getting through if like people really love this movie and her performance. Like yeah, like you it's hard to hate this movie, and it's also hard to hate her performance. Like it's just so winning.
I mean, it's like he wrote it for, I mean, like Paul Thomas Anderson has worked with Chaim multiple times, like on a lot of their videos. They're actually seemingly friends. At the screening I saw, he did a Q&A after with the two of them, Cooper and Alana. And she was basically like, their relationship is such that she could like text him and like he'll just show up to make a video for them. So like he clearly like wrote the movie with her in mind. I think he surrounded her with, her whole family is in the movie.
Yeah, her whole family is in it.
It's like, I mean, he put her in the best position to succeed, and she like is just so winning and charming.
Yeah, and then her character has like her birthday, because there's like a whole thing with Bradley Cooper about like when her birthday is, and it's like the real Alana's birthday.
So it's like, it's very much like that. At the same time, like in the Q&A I saw, it was at DGA, and she was like that this is like the best, not the best version of herself, but like a much more tough and tough-minded version of herself. Like she was like, I would never go, like in the movie, it's not, there's really nothing to spoil about this movie, but I would just say like there's a scene later on where there's like a strange man like watching over the mayor's office. It kind of looks like it's going to be like it's like Taxi Driver, I thought of for some reason, like, or whatever, but like it ends up, there's nothing untoward about it necessarily. And she just goes up to the guy and is like screaming in his face. And like Alana Haim was like, I would literally never do that. But the character is totally fine to do that. Right. She's like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm doing this. So yeah, she's wonderful. But I mean, we kind of are like, I think the obvious nominee though is Bradley. He's not in it very much.
Okay,
but,
so like we kind of knew that, like even like before anyone saw this movie, that like he only shot like a couple days on set or whatever. And like, you heard through the grapevine that he's not in a lot. You saw it and you said he only has like 2 scenes. So when I saw it, I actually timed it.
Yes.
I just like hit my phone screen, just check the time. And yeah, those 2 scenes, the first one is like about 3 minutes. The second one is about 4 minutes. So it's 7 minutes total and changed, because then he has like a final bit, like a couple of minutes later when he's just like walking in the background. And then, but that's mostly audio. Like you hear him like talking to like these 2 girls. So maybe that's kind of like 15 more seconds of audio or something. Right. So it's like 7 minutes and change his screen time.
And it's possibly the best 7 minutes of the year, I would argue. He's unbelievably
it's great.
Funny.
It went over, I also saw it at DGA, and it went over well.
It just like explodes the movie. And like you mentioned, like actually not even a negative, but like it's almost impossible for the stuff that comes immediately after it to match the energy of, he plays John Peters in the film, the famous producer who was dating Barbra Streisand, or was he married to Barbra Streisand even? I don't even remember.
They were dating. I don't think they ever married.
He produced the original Star, or Hearst's version of Star is Born. It's like the basis of Warren Beatty and Shampoo is basically like a very well-known figure in Hollywood who was also possibly problematic as well. And Bradley Cooper is just like, just crushes it. He's so hopped up. I think David Ehrlich either in his Twitter or in his review is like comes in like a cocaine Godzilla basically, and it's like true. I mean, he just is like
like you don't see his face when he enters for the first time. It's just him like walking towards his driveway, but like it's him.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. The way he kind of just like works with Cooper Hoffman is incredible. I think it's so funny. It's such a great character and bit. I don't know. I think he could get in just on the strength of the 7 minutes. It's so good. And I think everybody leaving like if that one is going to say the same, like, oh my God, Bradley Cooper's incredible in this. I know it's a small part, but I feel like, God, he's so good. I think he's still going to get in. I was like, like, oh, I'm not going to put him in because it's a cameo. And then I was like, actually, he's really good. I think he's going to get in. So,
I mean, most of like the supporting people in this are cameos. Like it's really a two-hander.
right. Yeah, the other actors in it are Sean Penn has an extended scene. Tom Waits is in that scene as well. And then Benny Safdie is in it. Maya Rudolph is in it for like 2 seconds. I don't even know if she says more than one line, honestly. She's not in very much.
Well, her first line was hilarious and everyone cracked up.
That scene is awesome. Cooper Hoffman's character, the child actor, goes in for an audition. It's very funny. It's another movie. I have him in, and I think I ought to have Paul winning for screenplay. I just think like if he's going to win an Oscar, if this is like, let's get Paul Thomas Anderson an Oscar, it seems like hard pressed to imagine a more perfect movie than that. This is a very accessible movie, like you said, super watchable, based in Hollywood, about Hollywood stuff.
Yeah, a lot of inside like Valley references
right.
that like LA would appreciate. I still have Bradley in fifth. I mean, look, like Judi Dench won for 8 minutes, Beatrice Straight won for 5 minutes. I don't know if he can win, but that category is so open and like all over the place. And he is like a true scene stealer. And, you know, like no offense to Sean Penn, who has more screen time in this movie, but like no one comes out of that movie talking about him.
Correct. It's just not like, and it's not even like he's such a, you're right. Like the part is so like big, like that. It's just going to dominate even like all the other real actors or, you know, major stars like Sean Penn. I don't know. I don't think he could win either, but I mean, who knows? Like that category is so wide open. I think I still have Jared Leto in there because again, it's also a huge performance, but it's
I mean, I have him in there, but I don't have him winning. So
I have him winning because of like the industry love for him seemingly. And also it's like it's in the same area code as the Bradley Cooper performance. I'd say it's just very big and he's got a bigger role. So that was why I was like, oh, of course, like Jared could win here rather than Bradley. Because it's like he's like a major character in Gucci, whereas Bradley's in this for 7 minutes. So I don't know. Do you have it in for Best Picture?
Yeah, I have him. It's in the top 5 for me, I think. Like I think it's I don't know if it can win. But I think it's definitely like a top 5. Oh,
I have it in for picture and director as well.
I've always had him in director. So I have Licorice in 3 right now.
I don't think it'll win, but I mean it's definitely going to win a lot of critical prizes. I think there'll be some backlash to it. I think like you said, because it's episodic, and I think the romance itself is somewhat problematic or could be deemed problematic.
I mean, there was, you know, like when the trailers were released, there was a lot of like speculation about
and I think it's handled. I think it's handled well. I don't think, and it's like, it is the premise of the movie. So it's like, it is what it is. I don't know. I could see there, and it's also, but I'm like like this to me was his best movie since There Will Be Blood. Is certainly the most one I've enjoyed more. And I liked The Master and I liked Phantom Thread a ton, but I'm like, those Phantom Thread did so well at the Oscars. I'm like, this kind of is better than that seemingly in more mainstream appeal. I don't know. Maybe it does get in.
I prefer like his 90s films to
Same.
like his 21st century ones.
My take on Paul Thomas Anderson is the worst take. I'll have to give it to you. Is that he's a lot like, and this will get. I mean, no,
oh God, what are you gonna say?
He reminds me of Radiohead. I loved Radiohead in the 90s.
Oh yeah, you've said this to me before.
And it's a terrible take, but I do agree with. I'm like, I love Radiohead in the 90s, and I think that Paul Thomas Anderson in the 90s is great too. Even though the more critically acclaimed stuff came later, than Everybody Loves a Radiohead. I'm like, give me the Bends. This is like the Bends. This is like Radiohead going back to the Bends. Paul Thomas Anderson, Licorice Pizza. So I'm super basic, but I enjoy it.
I mean, look, I feel like that's kind of, I mean, not to like derail this into like a music conversation, but I think, you know, oftentimes in music, you prefer like your favorite musicians or artists like earlier output than later, especially if that was like part of your like youth and like adolescence.
Yes.
So.
I was a little older. It's not a little, maybe more like my, you know, like 20s, but yes, I totally agree. So that's Licorice Pizza. I don't know. I could see, so like, I do have it winning. I don't know where else do you have it in? Like, you know, the Johnny Greenwood score is very light. It's much more of a soundtrack movie than a score. So I don't think
Yeah,
he's going
I'm
to
not
get in
going to think
there.
about score until like the short lists, honestly. Like there are a
Same.
lot of great scores this year.
Cinematography, I could see it maybe competing, but I don't have it
like
in.
he was co-DP.
Yeah.
So
Costumes, I mean, perhaps.
I like the costumes a lot. I think it was Mark Bridges, right?
Yes. So he seems like a legit possibility to get in because he's obviously been there before.
I mean, I'm not a big dress person, but I loved all her like cute dresses, like her cute dresses. So
I mean, so I think Phantom Thread had 6 nominations, is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I mean, this could also get that many, but we'll see. I think again with the 10 best pictures makes it seem likely for a best picture because I just think the response is really strong and people seem to like it. And him as director and screenwriter also seem like legitimate to me. I don't know. I think the directors, will really respond to this.
I mean,
movie.
they nominated him for directing Phantom Thread over Martin Madonna.
Yes. So
yeah.
seemingly.
But also, so like PTA has 8 nominations now, and he's number 1, and he could get 3 more for this. So that's 11. So if he doesn't win,
that's absolutely wild.
Over 11. But that's also the case with Bradley because he's also at 8, and he's a producer on Nightmare Alley, who's a official trailer just dropped this morning.
Yes.
And so he could get into lead for that, best picture for that, and supporting for this. So they could both go over 11.
I just don't believe that he's going to go. I don't know about Bradley because after Star is Born, that I'm still not over. I don't know if he'll ever get it, who knows, but I think Paul Thomas Anderson, if we want to look at like you said before, original screenplay is always like a fun category. It usually picks like the best winners, the
usually
movies.
Yeah, most of the time
Picks like the cool movies. I don't know right now, my list, the favorite, according to the odds, Licorice Pizza is like the favorite. Then Kenneth Branagh's Belfast, Zach Balin's script for King Richard in 3rd, Don't Look Up, which is Adam McKay in 4th, and then Fran Kranz for Mass in 5th, with Aaron Sorkin's being Ricardos in 6th.
Mass is still in the top 5. Wow.
I think that's just because people haven't really updated. I mean, I personally have Paul.
I mean, no offense to Mass, like.
Yeah, I have Paul Thomas Anderson winning for Licorice Pizza as well. I put Sorkin in there. I mean, it seems like I don't know how he won't get in. I put
Ricardos in there as well. And I mean, we talked about this last week with Belfast, that it's not seen as like a writerly movie.
Right. And I think like we saw last year, even with Nomadland would be the comp, it didn't win screenplay. And like, even though it won Best Picture and Best Director. So Belfast could still win Best Picture without screenplay. I don't think they need to be connected at all. And I think,
in the preferential era, like screenplay and picture are more connected than screenplay and director. But it's also like, I don't have him winning for directing either for Belfast. So I don't have Belfast winning Best Picture right now either. But so it's like, could Belfast win Best Picture without director and screenplay? And maybe just like a supporting win for Katrina Balfe. I don't know.
I moved Power of the Dog into Best Picture for just
I have Power of the Dog in first too, which came out in limited yesterday.
Yes. Right? Another movie. This is the busy. I was like, this is a criminally busy week. You've got Power of the Dog, Tick Tick Boom on Netflix, Licorice Pizza and Gucci next week, King Richard on HBO and Netflix, and HBO in theaters. Excuse me. Just a lot of things. But yeah, I have Power of the Dog winning because I was like, Jane, I think, is a front runner for director. I think it could win adapted screenplay. And if Kirsten's up for supporting actress and seemingly like the front runner there, those 3 together feel like Best Picture to me. So that's why I moved it up to Best Picture.
Yeah. And then like since I've seen it like 3 weeks ago now, like I just like can't wait to see it again when it finally hits Netflix in 2 weeks, I think. Just because like we've talked about before, like you just want to rewatch this movie. Not because it's confusing or anything. Like I knew going into it like what was going to happen, but it's just fun to go back. It's more rewarding to watch something you've seen already, to like look for things and like like sort of like what to expect. Like I don't mind spoilers at all. Like I tell me all the spoilers in the world for anything, even things like I don't like, because it makes me pay attention more and look for things more. So I like, for me, like it's not about like the twist or like the surprise, it's about like how you execute it.
Mhm.
And I think the way she lays everything out is great. And like she gives you like all the right amount of information you need throughout the movie.
I totally agree. The other thing I would say about Power of the Dog is that I think this is my maybe a counterintuitive take, and kind of similar to Nomadland in that like we kind of I mean, maybe I've been personally, I'm conditioned to think of like the consensus movie being like the most down the middle, like an Argo or like Green Book. But I'm like, actually, Power of the Dog, I think is a potential consensus movie because like in a lot of ways similar to Moonlight, no one I've not seen one person be like, Power of the Dog, I don't think is good. Everyone thinks it's good. Like your baseline is like good movie and to potentially like all-time great movie, right? Like that's like your thing. And I'm like, it seems like a consensus movie. Like I don't know anybody who's not liked it. It's drama and it's obviously like not a quote unquote crowd pleaser, but it's just a good movie. And like good movies can win Best Picture very easily. So I think like in a preferential ballot, it's not going to be like polarizing at all. I think it's going to be like, who would not have Power of the Dog in like a top 2 spot?
You want those 2s and 3s.
Right. Even if you like Belfast and King Richard or, like Being the Ricardos or any of these other movies, you're going to have Power of the Dog like 2. It's like, it is like universally a good movie. So I think that really bodes well for its long-term run here through award season. And the other thing is like, it came out this week in limited release. I feel like the rollout has been really strong. Like it really was a big festival hit, obviously, but they've kind of like kept the simmer going on the burner. It feels like it's not been like totally overwhelmed with Power of the Dog stuff. People are still, I mean, Jane Campion getting asked about superhero movies this week. That's great. But
please.
It comes out on Netflix December 1st. I think that's also good because like there's so much right now that I'm like, by December 1st, I think there's a little bit of an opening. Like, people this weekend are probably going to be trying to see King Richard and Tick, Tick, Boom, and maybe they're going to go see Ghostbusters for whatever reason or whatever. I mean, there's more of an opening.
And yeah, next week is Gucci.
And Licorice Pizza.
Yeah.
So it's like coming at like December 1st on Netflix is like a perfect time, I feel like, for it. And there's not that much. December, you have like Nightmare Alley, like we said, and Don't Look Up and West Side Story. And those are like the 3 big ones that could maybe affect the race. But Power of the Dog right now is in a good position, I would say. And I think that's why I still have it winning. But so then that's why back to the screenplay, I'm like, without Belfast there is like winning Best Picture for me. I think PTA could win his first Oscar here. So that could be good.
Yeah, I'm not like those, I don't think like voters think that way. It's like, oh, this is a spot I could reward PTA. But I think like that in that lineup for like original screenplay, like that will be like the strongest picture in there. Like you could say Belfast too, but I think when you like compare them, I think you would lean more towards like PTA's screenplay.
Yeah.
Belfast,
so that's Licorice Pizza. So Joyce, let's wrap up here. It's been great. I'm super excited about, what's great? Movies. That was the other thing. I walked out of Licorice Pizza and I was like, man, movies.
What a picture.
What a picture. It really is. That was my tweet and it's like my review. What a picture. It's Al Pacino and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Speaking of, Joyce, did you see the Gucci red carpet with Lady Gaga and Al Pacino?
And then like the paparazzi or like the photographers were like, take off your sunglasses, Al. And she's
like, Al Pacino.
No.
It's the best.
Al Lady can Gaga, wear whatever he wants on the red carpet.
Lady Gaga, incredible. Having her in award season should be an annual event.
I need her to be nominated because I want this like promo tour, press tour to continue. Like everything is perfect. Like, and she will do it. So
I think she will, and I'm very excited for her to get nominated here. I love her in the movie. We can talk about that more next week, and we'll talk about Don't Look Up, which we'll get to see, I assume. Where I think we're seeing it Monday, so that's good. They'll have I think it's going to start screening. Is it? I mean, today maybe Thursday?
There was one today that we're not going to.
So we'll see. I mean, I wonder when I assume they'll have responses to the movie.
I think the embargo, because I think there's also an LA one tonight, and I think it's the embargo or the social embargo is timed for like when they both end.
Sure, and then we could see. So we'll see. They released a trailer for that this week. It looks very very star-studded and a lot of good I don't know. We'll see. It's apparently it's pretty long. Just to break it to you.
Yeah.
But everything this season.
I mean, I expected that though, just with the amount of people in it. And I mean, like Vice was pretty long too. There was a lot happening in Vice, and I expect there to be a lot happening in this as well.
Do you want to do should we do another Succession here briefly?
Oh my God. So the 5th episode.
Yes, it's your favorite
featuring
moment.
like one of my favorite Succession scenes of all time.
Yes.
The dead cat, the imaginary dead cat.
So who's the actor who plays Colin? Because that guy should get honestly an Emmy for the way he carried the dead cat.
I think his name is Scott.
Incredible performance. So Logan is piss mad in the show because he has a UTI, which Brian Cox like spoiled.
Scott Nicholson. Okay. Yeah.
Scott Nicholson. Great. Man, Scott, you ruled. That was awesome. He has a UTI, which Brian Cox spoiled, and it's affecting his thoughts. He's losing it. And he thinks
which is a real side effect of UTIs in elderly people. Yeah.
So he's confused and disoriented, and he thinks there's a dead cat underneath his chair, and they have to placate his fantasies. Incredible moment of comedy. Really great. I thought that was like a really great episode. It was again like difficult, like I was like cringing throughout, just like remarkable, awkward machinations. The episode ends with Shiv having really successfully negotiated perhaps her own seat on the board, and Logan being like, "You're a total idiot." And let me ask you this: are we supposed to believe? How do you view what the deal? Not to get too into the weeds on like the actual reality of the show. Do you think that was a good deal for them or no? What was your take?
I think it was a good deal for Shiv because obviously they wanted to avoid the vote, right? So they needed to work something out with like Stewie and the Sandys and Sandy, who may or may not have syphilis, enfeebled with syphilis.
Yes.
His whole thing is like he never wants any of like the kids to take over, and like that's why he wants like veto rights, and then just to like stick into him even more is like kill the PJs, the private jets, which is the cruelest thing, really.
As Roman says, first they came for the private jets, and I said nothing.
Yeah. So like Shiv, I think she did want to like prevent the vote so they don't lose the company. But then I think in the middle of that, like she realized like to negotiate with female Sandy, like Hope Davis, like, she wants something for herself too. So it's kind of like, I'm going to work something out for me while I'm doing like the greater good of like saving like Waystar Orco, to avoid the vote. So, and I think it's just like, it always comes back to like, wanting a kiss from daddy. Like,
and he does not want to do it.
She wants like a good job pinky from Logan and like hands him like the champagne, and he's just like, get out of here. I'm talking to Jerry. Like, that was terrible. So, like, I would not have done that.
So you have so Shiv basically again is shunned. Perhaps Kendall called her. Nobody's been very impressed with Shiv in the office, it seems. So I feel like she's just been getting loss after loss. So she did get a personal win here. Kendall just nuked again by Logan and blocked his number. Totally
oh my God. That was like the saddest scene at the end.
Really, really tough beat for Kendall. Totally sidelined.
And he may have killed Iverson's rabbit. So it's
incredible.
It's like,
I really liked, I thought that scene when he comes in, he comes in to like yell at them for effing the deal up, basically, because there's a moment where like they're gonna walk away from Sandy because Brian for Logan is just like, screw this, I don't want this. And like he comes in and he's furious. And it was interesting because I had never seen Roman that angry before in response. Like I was like, Roman, they've really set up this season to be like, he cares about his dad, even if Logan doesn't necessarily care about him. I feel like a lot of Roman's interest this season has been like, why don't we think of dad as like our dad instead of like an obstacle? Like in the earlier episodes, he's been like, Kendall, he was like, you're trying to kill our dad. Why are we going to do this to dad? And even in this episode, he's more concerned with the father's health than he is the deal, and kind of like is super mad at Kendall. So I'll be curious. I know you've seen a couple ahead. I'll be curious to see how that plays out for the rest of the season, because I'm like, that's an interesting note for Roman to play. And I could still see, I don't know. I mean, like, everybody, all the kids are basically left, or at least Shiv and Kendall are left very unhappy at the end of this episode. So
yeah, for sure. And like the Roman thing is like I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. I don't know when. I don't know. We talk about Succession so much,
Yes.
but I think it was on one of these, like how like my take on Roman is that like he's like the smartest and also like the most kind of like empathetic out of all of the kids, because like he like doesn't actually care. Like sure, like it'll be great for him to be CEO, but he doesn't actually care about that. Like he just wants them to be the dysfunctional family again. Like
Right.
he wants them to just have their like stupid silly little fights and then like go their separate ways and then come back like the next day and fight again and like go their
Mhm.
separate ways. You know, like remember in the season 2 finale on the boat after he comes back from that like hostage situation, and he's like obviously like still shaken about it, and they're just like lounging by like the pool or whatever, and he kind of like, I'm paraphrasing here, but he kind of asks like Shiv and Kendall like can we just like talk about stuff? And like I thought like you could read that either way. Like maybe you thought like he was just kind of like joking or whatever and you know just messing with them, but I like now like I'm just like that was like kind of genuine, because like they just kind of like brush him off as if he was joking, you know, like
Yes,
oh
they like make fun of him.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but like I think like he deeply cares about them, even if like these people are terrible at expressing themselves. Like they cannot say I love you or I care about you or anything. So like their insults are their way of doing that. And yeah, like he is protective of Logan more so this season, I think, because of what Kendall did.
Yeah.
And yeah, like this one, like he's just kind of like looking out for dad and you know just wanting to like wait for dad to like come to and see like what he thinks and everything.
Yeah, he definitely he I believe he even is the one who's like, if dad says no, we shouldn't do it, because even an
Mhm.
adult dad, like dad's right all the time, like he's got to be right here.
Yeah.
uh I don't know, I was like, yeah, watching, I was like, I don't think Shiv made the right call. She definitely made the right call for herself, but for the larger
Mhm.
company, I think she maybe overextended herself. And I got the feeling in her scene with Sandy, I think it's Sandy with an I and then a Y, right? Is that how they
Yeah. So Hope is Sandy
differentiate?
with an I,
Yeah.
and Larry Pine is Sandy with a Y.
Right. And in that scene, we've seen Shiv like kind of like be that very calculating uh kind of con artist. We saw that in the second season when she's trying to talk to the woman who's accusing Waystar of like, you know, Waystar Cruises of rape, and you know, and she kind of like basically talks that woman into dropping her case and not
Although
testifying.
a great scene for Sarah Snook. Yeah.
Incredible scene, and she's so like evil and also like very believable. And then we saw it this season, I feel like we've seen that, like an echo of that scene twice. Earlier when she's talking to Kendall at the journalist party, she kind of does the same thing to Kendall where she's trying to like smooth talk him into like doing what she wants, and it's almost believable enough for Kendall, and then he's like, you're the one now, and he knows that she's off, like she's not to be trusted. And then this episode, she was trying to do the same thing, I felt like, to Hope, to Sandy with an I, Hope Davis, and you could just see on her face she wasn't even believing what she was selling. It ended up working out for her, but I was like, she's just desperate right now, she's
Oh
absolutely
yeah, for sure.
flailing.
Like I've always like the thing with, I think like Shiv as a character is so interesting because I think like obviously she's like the only girl in the family, the only woman. And I think like early on, and even like in season 2, when it was like Shiv's season, you know, because like Logan pegged her in the beginning to be like, you're the one. Like I think people kind of like view that because like she is the woman, and it's like goes back to what like Kendall said, is like she is the smartest one, like she is like the good one, because you know she also had a job outside of Waystar early in season 1, you know, being like a political advisor or whatever for Evis. Yeah. And obviously she's like come into the fold. So, and she's like moderate, I guess, like more left leaning than they are, you know?
Right, a
So
woke snowflake, as Kendall calls her,
yeah, a
right?
woke snowflake. So, and like to me, like her thing, this is why like I think like Roman is actually like the smartest. He's just like immature. Like Shiv is smart, but like she's also like way too impulsive, and then like she flails, like you said, like when things
Mhm.
aren't going her way.
Yeah.
Because like when she was in talking to like the cruise ship victim, like she was like in control, like things were working in her favor,
Yes.
so she killed it, like she crushed it. But when things aren't going her way, like she can't handle, like when she blurted out that in Turnhaven to like Cherry Jones, like that like she was gonna be next, it's because like she couldn't handle that like Logan wasn't announcing it to everybody.
Exactly. That's a great, and that's what this felt like. This episode felt like an
Yeah,
echo to Turnhaven when she's like, "It's me. Why don't you say it?" Like she couldn't hold
yeah.
it in, and yeah, great stuff. So I'm very excited for there's not a lot of episodes left. That was episode 5. We have 6,
Yeah,
7,
because there's
8,
only
9.
9 episodes this season.
It's wild. All
You know.
right, Joyce, we should wrap up. This has been far too long, but it's been so fun, and we'll talk
So
next
yeah,
week.
being the Ricardos, yeah, Nicole
Yeah.
Kidman, vindicated.
Vindicated.
So,
Like
yeah,
Spider-Man
Alexa
2.
play vindicated.
Yes. Dashboard confessional. Love it.
Yes.
All right, Joyce, see you later. Bye.